according to the law of demand, when price increases, the amount we are willing and able to buy, right, quantity demanded. Oh, let's move my face so you can see this here. So according to the law of demand, when the price goes up, the amount we are willing and able to buy, so quantity demanded, will go down, right? We get a downward sloping demand curve. But not all goods follow that law of demand. We have what are called Giffen Goods. For Giffen Goods, when price increases, the amount we are willing and able to buy, so quantity demanded, actually goes up. So Giffen Goods have an upward sloping demand curve. So let's look at what makes them this special case. The term Giffen Goods comes from an economist named Sir Robert Giffen. And he's a Scottish economist, and what he was looking at was the Great Famine in Ireland. So from 1845 to 1852, there was a potato blight. This potato blight was killing the potato crop. At the time, about a third of the population was dependent on potatoes as their primary source of food. So at this time, meat was very expensive. So what happened is you spent most of your income on potatoes because you couldn't afford meat. Now, maybe you bought a little bit of meat, but it was mostly potatoes. So then what happens when the price of potatoes goes up? Well, if before you spent a little bit of money on meat and the rest of your money on potatoes because meat costs too much, now that potatoes are more expensive, if you want to eat it all, you can't even afford a little bit of meat because meat is still way too much money, but the alternative is more expensive as well. Not as expensive as the meat, but more expensive than it used to be. So now you can't afford any meat, you're now buying all potatoes. We can see this a little bit better, I think, if we put it into numbers. So let's actually do a little bit of a calculation. So let's assume that you have $40 and you are crafty, so you are going to make some pillows. Okay, let's assume that a pillow requires 10 liters of some kind of stuffing inside. Okay, so you have some choices. You can put down into your pillow, and down costs $12 a liter. So tell me, can you afford a pillow that is entirely down? So 10 liters times $12, that's $120, and you don't have $120. And you can't see that because I'm writing on my face again. So let's just move this down here. Okay. All right. So you can't afford a 100% down pillow. So you need an alternative. And the alternative is going to be polyester. Not as good as a fancy down pillow, but an alternative. And polyester, let's say, is $2 a liter. Now, you could make a pillow entirely out of polyester, but polyester is not as good as down. So what you would like is to have as much as possible of down in your pillow and then supplement with polyester as necessary. So what would it cost to have, let's see, 2 liters of down, right? 2 times 12, that's 24. The rest of our pillow, 8 liters of polyester, and that's 8 times 2. And we can see there that that would use up all of our 40 bucks. So if we tried to have 3 liters of down and 7 liters of polyester, we couldn't afford it, right? 3 liters of down, 3 times 12 is 36. That would be 7 liters left of polyester. 7 times 2 is 14. And that's more than we have to make this pillow. So the maximum we can have at the moment is 2 liters of down and 8 liters of polyester. This would be like having some meat in your diet, but mostly potatoes because the meat's too expensive. Now, what happens if the price of polyester went up? So what if instead of $2 a liter, it was now $4 a liter? Okay. So can we afford 2 liters of down and 8 liters of polyester? Well, 2 liters of down would now be 4 times 12, right? So that's 48. And then we have 8 liters of polyester. Oops, sorry, I did that wrong. Let's go back. The price of down hasn't changed. So let me just erase this here. All right, 2 liters of down. So we have 2 liters, still $12. So that's still 24 bucks. And it's not letting me write. 24, come on. You can't see it anyway because I'm writing on top of my face again. So let's go back up here. 2 times 12. 24, theoretically. I don't know what's happening here. Equals 24. Okay. Now, the 8 liters of polyester. 8 liters, now $4 a piece. Okay. So 32. And you'll notice there that's more money than we have. So if the price of polyester goes up, what do? Well, we can't afford as much down, which is our preferred, because the polyester is more expensive. So now we actually have to consider, well, what is 1 liter of down would be 1 times 12, so $12. 9 liters of polyester, 9 times 4 would be, what is that, 36? That's $48. Can we afford that? No, all we have is 40 bucks. So notice when the price of polyester went from $2 to $4, so here's the price, $2, $4. What happened to the quantity of polyester? We went from 8 liters of polyester when the price was $2. And now that the price is $4, notice that the amount of polyester we now get is actually more. It's all polyester now because we can't even afford 1 liter of down. It all has to be polyester, right? 10 liters, $4. We can only afford that. So just like with Sir Robert Giffen and the potato blight, what he found is that the price of potatoes went up because they were still the cheaper alternative, just like we see here with the polyester. As the price of the cheaper alternative goes up, if it's still cheaper than the preferred, then you're going to see this upward sloping demand curve. So you have goods, you're buying the cheaper alternative. The cheaper alternative becomes more expensive, but it's still not as expensive as your preference. You're then just going to get more of that cheaper alternative. This is a Giffen good. As the price goes up, the quantity demanded goes up. When we talk about the law of demand and these downward sloping demand curves, we often draw straight lines. Price goes up, quantity demanded goes down, price goes down, quantity demanded goes up. But in real life, demand curves look like this shape, and we've actually seen this shape before because it's a similar shape to our indifference curves. What do we call this shape? Right? This shape is convex. And that's because at different price ranges, we may be more or less sensitive to the price change. So let's think that through. We need water to live, right? We drink it, we actually bathe in it, we water our lawn with it. So how sensitive we are to a price change, that is when we change the price, how much does quantity demanded change, really depends on what range of prices we're looking at. So if it's $1 million a bottle for water, then you're not going to bathe, you're not going to water your lawn, you're going to get the bare minimum you need to live. If the price of water goes from $500,000 to $1 million, you can't really afford much of either. So notice here that when the price changes, the amount we're willing and able to buy, so this quantity here, changes very little. So we're going to talk about elasticity in the upcoming videos that looks at how sensitive we are to price change. But at certain price levels, once we kind of get to where we can't afford a whole lot, then the amount that we're willing and able to buy is going to change just a little, even with big changes in price. However, at other price ranges, so let's drop the price of water to be much lower. Okay, so as we drop the price of water, so let's think about it in terms of bottles of water. If you change from $1 a bottle to a penny a bottle, we start to see a much bigger change in the amount we are willing and able to buy. Now you can not only drink it, but now you can bathe in it. If it gets even cheaper, now you can water the lawn, you can wash your pets, right? So as the prices change, the amount we are willing and able to buy starts changing a lot. So this sensitivity to price change is different at different ranges. This idea of elasticity, or how sensitive we are to price, we're going to look at future videos and see what causes you to be more elastic or inelastic. What causes that demand curve to be steeper or flatter. But we're focusing on different areas on a demand curve. When we draw these theoretical demand curves, what we're really doing is just zooming in on a narrow range of prices to see what's happening there. But in reality, if you look at the full spectrum of all possible prices, the demand curve is actually this convex shape like we saw in our Tim Hortons demo. So we're going to dive more into elasticity, the steepness and flatness of the demand curve in our coming levels, and we're going to look at what changes the amount we're willing and able to buy at all prices. So what changes demand, as opposed to what we've been looking at right now, which is how does quantity demanded change when you change the price.